Hello. Okay, I'm going to try recording this Monogram project intro again because it seemed like there were some glitches and stuff with the old video. So here we are, Monogram project. Everything's here. We have a direction sheet, a sample, graph paper for you, and then I'm going to redo this. So first of all, if we look at the directions, a monogram is basically your initials, okay? So with that, the middle one is the biggest, and that's going to be your last initial. So for example, this person's name is Anna Beth Carter. So her monogram would be A and then a big C and then a B. So Anna and Beth are surrounding the Carter. A lot of people use monograms to let people know that their stuff is theirs. You might see monograms on purses or on bathrobes or backpacks or things like that. So anyways, you're going to be creating your own monogram today, and I'm going to kind of show you quick what this might look like. All right, so this is my sample. My initials are HMV, so V is for Van de Waal. That's why this one's in the middle and much larger. And this is my final product. So this one is nice and neat. I used a straight edge, colored it in, all kinds of stuff. But before I started this, I sketched it out, okay? And when I started this sketch, it didn't have all of these coordinates and ordered pairs and quadrant numbers and all that stuff. I literally just sketched it out, didn't even use a straight edge. You can kind of see it's even a little curvy. It's not perfect, but I kind of sketched out how I wanted my letters to be. Now, since we're talking about slopes, you're going to notice that my letters have absolutely no curves to them. I don't want you to use curves. How do you do that if you have a letter like B in your name or something? So if you can't figure it out how to draw block letters using your name or your initials, down here is like a sample of what you could possibly do. It's not what you have to do. It's just an example of something you could do. And you might have to change up some of these because a lot of these are made up of all vertical and horizontal lines. So you might have to change it a little bit because I'm not going to allow you to only do horizontal and vertical lines for your project. Okay, so if we take a look here at the rubric, it does say on a coordinate plane, use segments, no curves, to create your initials. Be creative and create your own font. And on a separate sheet of paper, list the coordinates of each stopping and starting point and determine the slope of the line segments that connect the points. Okay, so again, if we look back at this, you're going to notice that I did make my H kind of slanted, so I didn't have so many vertical and horizontal segments on mine. All right, so what you do when you're done drawing it nicely on a coordinate plane, you're going to go back to your sketch, okay, and you're going to write out the coordinates of each point. Okay, so for example, here, this coordinate is located at -15 and then +7. And this is in quadrant 2, right? We have quadrants 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is in quadrant 2. So you're going to notice here I wrote the coordinates -15, 7, and that it's in quadrant 2. I did that for every single point, and you need to do that for every single point as well. Okay, looking at the rubric, the second part is coordinates. So you need to have points in all 4 quadrants on the grid. The coordinates should be accurate, and you should have them labeled with the correct quadrant to get all 5 points. Okay, as far as neatness and design, you should be using a straight edge when you're doing your final product, and it should be colored. And I should be able to read your initials, like I should be able to tell what those letters are. Sometimes people get a little bit crazy, and I can't really read what they are. So I also wanted to point out that sometimes people have letters where there's something in the middle. I don't have any of those, so I'm going to point this out. Like, for example, if you were to do the letter D, okay, maybe you're doing your block D like this. Okay, you don't have to do any of the coordinates, slopes, or anything for the inside part. I only need what's on the outside. Okay, that wouldn't be really fair to people who have all of these inner parts. So I only need to know the coordinates of the outer points and the quadrants, and then also the slopes of the outer part. You don't have to do anything with this inner part. Okay, moving back to the rubric, the slopes. So the slopes need to be accurate, and you need to have at least 6 different slopes. So going back to my picture here, okay, to calculate this slope, all I did was count rise over run. So to get from here to here, I'm going up 15 and over 2. So you can see that here on my, right next to the line, that it's 15 over 2 for the slope. Now, I do have at least 6 slopes, and that's why I changed some of this to make it slanted so that I would have more. So here you can see I have 0 slope. All of these horizontal lines are going to be 0 slope. There's a lot of those, and you probably will have those too. And the vertical lines are undefined, which you can abbreviate as UND if you want. So 0 is one type of slope. Undefined is 2 types of slope. 15 over 2 is a third type of slope. Here I have negative 15 over 2. That's a fourth slope. It's okay if it's negative version of the other one. That's still different. And then over here I have on my V, I have a negative 1/3. I have a negative 20 over 3. And then I have even more slopes. Okay, so I actually have way more than 6, but they are all here and they're all labeled. Okay, so when you're finished, you're going to be turning in 2 documents. You're going to be turning in this one and then this one as well. If you want to do both of them on the coordinate grid, that's fine by me. Just make sure one of them is using a straight edge and you're coloring that in. The other one should have all of your coordinates, quadrants, and slopes on it. Okay, one final thing I want you to note is that when you're opening this, you're going to notice sometimes when I scan things in, it's sideways. It's just because that's how things get scanned in. So it's always portrait, not landscape. So you have this like special series of keystrokes on your keyboard if you have the Chromebook that you can rotate your screen. I'm not going to really do it now because the last time I did it messed up my whole video. So right above the 4 key on your Chromebook, you're going to see like a little circular arrow. If you hit Control Shift and that arrow, it's going to rotate your screen. So you should be able to see anything that's sideways turned on its side, and that's going to help you out quite a bit. Okay, please let me know if you have any questions on this project. It is going under projects and test grade, so remember that is 40% of your grade. So you can always help your grade out by doing well on mini projects like this. All right, good luck guys. Again, let me know if you have any questions.